Hello everyone and welcome to Calculus for the Summer 2 session. My name's Terry Barnes and I'll be helping you through this really quick journey of Cal 1. Now there's a good news and bad news there. The bad news is you got to do all this really quickly. The good news is in a very short time you're going to have 4 hours of calculus credit under your belt. So pay attention, do your work, stay ahead, and you will be fine. So I wanted to take this short video time to show you how the course is set up, what my expectations are, and how you should approach the course. So let's get started on that. First thing to notice is where the announcements are, and they will be here. And I will have announcements at least weekly. And if something else comes up and I feel the need to put something there, they will be there. So be sure you check them and read and see if there's anything you need to know. Over here is your content browser, and I have put everything that I feel like you need right there. So that's where I would go to gather information. Now, as far as what you do, up here, if you click on homework and tests, that's where you'll do your work. If you want to see your grades continually, you can go here. And again, you could go to content this way, but I think I've got everything here for you. So let's go through the different things and make sure you've got what you need here. So instructor plan, we're going to pull that up. And we're not going to read all of it, but it does have my contact information here. I'm not on campus. This is online, so you could call this number and leave a voicemail. I will get that by email if you needed to do that. So you could do that. The required text, well, this is inclusive access, meaning you don't purchase a book. The electronic book is included in what you paid for your tuition. You do need a graphing calculator, an 83 or an 84. If you have something else and you're proficient with it, you know what to do on it, then you may certainly use that. I teach with this, and so if you see screenshots or videos of me doing things on the calculator, it would be with an 83 or an 84. It wouldn't be an 83. It would be an 84 at this point. So let's move on a little bit. Course attendance and participation. So you have to have 25% you can have no more than 25% absences in a course. So for online, we'll talk about how I do attendance. And it's a pretty easy way to just be counted present. So we will talk about that in a little bit. So keep that in mind. The course schedule or outline is, you'll see there's no dates over here because this is just a suggested list of everything we're going to cover, and showing you that there's this many tests and a final August 13th, with the course grades being due on the 14th for me. So we'll talk more about that as well. So course grading, homework counts 30% of your total average. You can do your homework multiple times till you get the grade you want. It will regenerate after the third try and give you a completely different problem, but you can keep working on it. So keep that in mind. Tests, there are 5 tests plus a comprehensive final. The tests themselves count 50% of your final average. This is super important. Before the test is available, it will not open for you if you have not made at least a 70 on each homework for that section. So you got to do your homework. You got to pass your homework in order to open the test. The final exam is cumulative, and it counts 20% of your final average. So keep that in mind as you're going through. I suggest that you do them in order. You do your homework for the first test, and then you take the first test. Some people try to go through and do all the homework and then go back and do all the tests. It does not seem to work well for most people, so certainly not what I would suggest. All right, this talks about late work attendance and make-up work policies. And the due date is the end of the course. So let me say that again. Everything is available day one. It is due the last day, the day before the course grades are due. So you get to set your own schedule. In this online course, attendance will be based on participation. So you do have to work each week either on a homework or a test. If you don't do work in that week, that counts as an absence. You're allowed 2 of those weeks, but if you receive a third one, you could be dropped for attendance issues, and that's silly. You just have to go in and do a little work each week. Now, if all you're doing is that, and you get down to the end, you're going to have way too much to do. So figure out what schedule works for you and work every week and get things done. But attendance, don't let that be a problem for you. So that takes care of that. All right, let's go look at the next thing. Or the next thing is handouts. So I'm just going to click that. If you need some refresher or some help on calculators, on college algebra information, there's a TI Inspire document if that's your calculator of choice. Here's a lot of trig information because you're going to encounter trig. Some more, that's a left-hand trick for trig. Common derivatives, that's a formula sheet. Integrals, formula sheet. This form right here, you will need for chapter 4. Do not forget that this is here. There is a question on the chapter 4 test that says, go print that form, fill it out, and that is a submission for part of the test. Some people evidently don't listen or don't read, and they lose 30 points on that test. So right there, that's important. There's some more. There's geometry, and there's a calculus review notes. Just several different things that you could use, might use. Print them if you need to. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, next is the calendar, and we kind of talked about that. And again, if you look at this, that has the wrong file. Let me fix that. Okay, I don't know what happened there, but we got the right one now. So in this calendar, again, it does not mean that you have to do all of this in week 2. It's a suggestion. But if you break it apart this way, that may help you. So it's not due at a certain day, it's due at the end of the course. But this might help people in dividing up the work and trying to cover that much in a week, because we only have 5 weeks and then the final exam. So keep that in mind. That's the way that's going to work. All right, the next 3 items are really the important part of the course. I have created some practice problems, some lecture notes, and a video lecture for every section. So let's look at one in each and make sure you see where they are and what they look like. So chapter 2, section 2.1, and we go there. So there's some blank problems, and there's not too many there. I think there's less in the actual homework, but there's 9 problems there, and they have the answer with them, but they are practice problems. So that's what those look like. Then we're back here, and we're going to go to the lecture notes, chapter 2, 2.1. And so if you were in class, this is what we would be looking at in class, and you can see the work is there. And when you get down here, those are those same problems, but they're worked out and showing you. Now, some people are going to pick that up just by looking at that, but most people do not, and they want a little bit more. So let's go look at the video lecture area. All right, so video lecture right here. I have a YouTube channel for every course I teach. And so when you click here, you're going to get playlist. So if we click on chapter 2, it's going to go here, and you can see I have, for every section, I have the video. Some are longer than others, but it is me talking you through and showing you the work for those practice problems and those lecture notes. So you have practice problem, lecture note, and a video for every section. All right, next here is the e-text. I don't think you need it because I've given you everything that you might need, but absolutely you can click this and it'll open in another window and you'll have the actual textbook. And final exam review is here. There's a blank review and there is the work for the review. So when it gets time to do that, be sure you go over that. Now up top, when you get ready to do your homework, we go here. And that's loading. All right, you can see everything here is due August 13th at 6 p.m. That's not negotiable. It's going to close at 6 p.m. And every homework section is here. It's a clickable link. So if we click on 2.1, and you can see there's 5 questions. You had a few more in the practice, but here's 5 questions. If we click on the first question, all right, now it's not showing you the whole question, but it's 2 parts. Find the average rate of change over the intervals. So I'm just going to click inside that box to show you these icons come up when you click on an answer box. And you can hit more. And so there's quite a few things. You may need mixed number. You may need a fraction, any of these. You may need some of the Greek alphabet. You may need several things that are down here, but they won't show up unless you click in the box. Now, the second thing I want to show you is I'm going to just put some gibberish there. All right, and I'm going to say check answer down here. And it's going to say the average rate of change is, give you a formula, prompt you to help you. You go, okay, I'm not changing it. I'm going to check it the second time. I still get that. And then I'm going to try it for a final check, and it's going to say the correct answer was 1480. This is what you answered. So looking at what you did and what it should be may help you see what you did wrong. At this point, you can go to the second part. It's going to, and if you roll your cursor over here, always, it's going to show you the correct answer and what you answered. Now, down here, you can hit view an example, but I've already given you those in your lecture notes. But if you go to get more help, ask my instructor. This is my preference for how I would like you to ask me for help on your homework. So if we click there, it's going to send me your particular question that you are working on. And you can type in here, you know, I've tried this, I don't understand that, whatever. And then you can send it to me. I'll know who it came from because it'll have your name on it, and I'll know exactly the numbers you're dealing with in your question. So if you've tried everything else and you need to ask me something, then try to use this get more help and ask my instructor. It'll come straight to me. Let me see what else we have. So if we did the same thing here and we put some stuff, let's go through this pretty quickly. And okay, and check, and okay, final check. Okay, now when you've gone through the whole thing, you can either just go on to the next question and come back to this later, or you can hit similar question and it's just going to regenerate with new numbers. So either way. All right, and then you can hit save. I do believe it auto saves, but you could do that to be sure. So you can see that I missed that one. All right, now you can resume or you could review. Let's go look at the grade book and see what it looks like now that we've done that. So we're out here, we hit grade book. There's my section 2.1. I can review my grade if I were looking at that. How much time did I spend on it? So all of this information I see. So if I see that you spent 1 minute and you got 100, I'm going to say, great, but tell me how you did that. So I will see all of this information, when you started it, when you worked it, and up here you'll see, oh, I have 27 homeworks, 5 tests, and this is your final exam. So as you do things, these bars are going to increase, and you can kind of see where you are. So your grade book's always going to be up to date. And if there are tests that have show work questions, let's go out of here and I want to talk about that. Okay, so I've just put these up here, and these flags are reminding you that you have to pass those homeworks. Chapter 2 test, you have 2 hours, you have 2 tries. That means you can take it the first time. If you're happy, great, you don't have to take it a second time. If you're not happy, take it a second time. The higher of the 2 grades will count in your average, so it can't ever hurt you to try again. These you have 150 all the way the rest of the time. The final exam, you only have 1 shot, so you want to study because you don't get to take it a second time. I think all of these 4, these 4 here have show work questions. So within the test, a question will have a show work. You can either do your work on paper, and there's a place you could save it to your computer and then take a picture of it and upload it within the test. If you have trouble doing that, you could send me your work and I'll look at it, but it won't be a perfect, you won't have a final grade until I look at your work. And let me tell you, it needs to be your work that I'm seeing. So not a copy paste out of a book or out of a program. I need to see your work. And particularly on this chapter 4, there is a problem that is worth 30 points and you have to fill out a complete form. There is a video of me doing one like this in the chapter 4 videos. So be sure that you're prepared for that. And in all of these, there will be a few show work questions. So be prepared for those. Okay, let me get out of here. Okay. I think that is it. If you have any more questions, you feel free to email me and we can talk about whatever's going on. I am here to help you. I'm here to prompt you, and you are going to do fine. So let's get busy as soon as you get this.